Yeah, hi everyone. I just want to quickly let you know before the video starts that I was able to set up a input overlay for OBS. So this way it will track and show all the inputs I press. So I use like WASD movement, but instead it's RDFG, don't ask. And then my shoot is period, and my grab is comma. So that's grab, and then this is shoot, and then E is ragdoll. And I'll probably put up text at the start of each video anyways, just to show what my keybinds are, because it's probably not very intuitive. So if you just watch that video and you forget. This way you don't need to come back to this one every single time you want to see what they are. Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking about wall shooting, which in my opinion is probably the second most useful tech in the game, because it allows you to have a sort of like one-way shot against someone who might be far away from the wall. So this tech has an easy setup that you can do, but it also can be done much faster without the setup. But it's honestly whichever way you're comfortable with. So once you get better at it, then you generally don't need to use the setup anymore. And it's like more maneuverable without it. So the basic principle behind wall shooting is the first frame that I turn around when I'm strafing up against a wall, the barrel of the gun, if the barrel is long enough, will go through the wall. And then if you fire during the first, and sometimes if the barrel is long enough, second frame. So you can see the sniper laser has the first beam, which is flat, and then the second beam, which angles up a little bit. And so that the flat beam is the first frame I turn around, and the angling up beam is the second frame. And also some guns, like the net gun, while it looks like their barrel doesn't go through, they actually shoot through the wall, and this goes for the camping gun as well. I think it's more so that their projectile is not a bullet. So, because if a bullet comes in contact with the wall, then it will get stopped. But the net gun somehow is able to like phase through that. The easy method, which is just a very short setup. So how it works is you just place the gun, you strafe up against the wall, then you place the gun down, turn around, you hold shoot, and then press grab. Yeah, like that. And it will shoot through the wall. And you can probably see better with the shotgun. Yeah, this is a little bit slow, but it's incredibly consistent. The only way you'll fail is if you just mess up the inputs by accident. So the only problem with this is it's kind of hard and difficult to shoot through the wall at like an upwards angle, because you saw before that the gun had the two frames, one which was flat and one which is up like that, and that's without the setup. But what you can do is if you come over here, if you just step a little bit away from the wall, you toss the gun, and then it's just like an angle save, just tossing the gun like that, it will shoot up. And you can also shoot down using the similar method, where you just angle save it against the wall. It's easier against some walls if you do the fast method, and then just turn around and fire. And remember, just like an angle save, you want to be holding shoot and then pressing grab, so it fires on the first frame. Now we also encounter a problem here, is because some walls, like this is the city wall, is kind of thin, as you can see, but the forest nature walls are thicker. So if we do the same thing, the barrel of the gun doesn't fully go through, so it doesn't work for some walls. But how it would work is you have to just do a different angle. So the sniper barrel is much longer than the shotgun barrel, if you can see, because when you angle save it, the shotgun does a second frame downwards angle, just like a downwards 45-degree angle. And so you can't do a downwards 45-degree angle through this wall because it's too thick. So instead you have to do a third frame angle, which is that. And so that will allow you to shoot through the wall. However, it is kind of hard to get the setup for that, because you can't actually get it really precise. What you actually have to do, if you want to do this setup, is you can't hold shoot and press grab, because that fires on the first frame, which is a 45-degree angle. So instead you have to press grab, wait one frame, and then press shoot like that, which is more precise timing. So at that point, it's kind of easier to just not do the setup, in my opinion. Now, of course, the obvious fast way to do it is just to turn around and on the first frame press fire. And then if you want to do the upper frame or the upper shot, you have to wait like an extra frame. So it can be kind of difficult, especially on this thinner wall, because if I come up here, then it becomes, I feel like, a lot easier. But yeah, it's hard to get it quite precise, but that's just practice, just like angling. Now there's some guns, like the Magnum or the old pistol or a few other guns, that are just short enough where they can't shoot through the wall flat, but they can do that third frame angle. And so you can do the angle save tech for this. You just have to wait a second before you press shoot. You can't hold shoot. But it is kind of difficult and not very consistent because it is kind of frame perfect timing. Like that. And actually there is a way to shoot directly flat against the wall. So if I were to face the wall and then tap in the opposite direction, you can see that the gun barrel does come backwards through the wall, if you see the golden tip. So the next related tech I'm going to talk about is floor shooting. And now this can range from very easy to very difficult. So if you have a wall like this, then it's quite easy if you have just a corner, like any corner, doesn't matter, any bottom corner. And you have a gun that's long enough to floor shot, like the sharp shot or this combat shotgun or the net gun or camping gun. But like normal snipers won't work. Like shorter guns, even ones that can wall shot, usually won't be able to floor shot. I think like the AK-47 can floor shot and just like a few more. So the simple way to floor shot uses angle saves. We love angle saves here. So what you want to do is you want to go up to a wall like this, and then you want to throw it against the wall. I'm not like holding any other button. And then you want to strafe, turn around, strafe, and then slide against the wall so you're fully in. And if you see when I pick it up, the barrel of the gun points towards the floor, through the floor for like 1 second, or 1 frame. If you can see that. So it's the same principle as an angle save, you just hold shoot and press grab. And that will shoot through the floor. Just like that. Now in my opinion, it's probably easier with the shotgun because there's more spread, so it's easier to hit people that are not just in one location. Right, so the slightly harder method which is nice because it doesn't need a wall, and you can do it anywhere, but it takes a small setup. You just have to angle save, of course. So how it works is it's just like actually the steeper angle saves, where when you flutter and then you crouch, it does a steeper angle save. So it's the same principle, and with a long enough gun, you can just shoot through the floor. And so it's a little more difficult, but it's easier on like thinner blocks, like the pyramid and city blocks, than on the nature blocks. So you can just do it like this. And yeah, actually the reason why it went through the floor there is because the blocks have a gap in them whenever it changes block types. So you can actually just shoot through the gap in them, which is a cool, neat fact. It's also useful because you can do it with a net gun and net people below the floor, which is actually quite useful in certain maps. And the hardest one, you don't need any setup at all. How it works is you just flutter, and then you just crouch, but you also add in the sharpest angle that you can do, the first frame angle, right before the ground. So it sort of looks like this. Okay, so actually a really cool use for the powered holster in floor shooting that I just discovered while filming this video is if you use specifically a sharp shot, because sharp shot has the longest barrel in the game, and you're on thinner blocks, so not nature, so like pyramid and city, and you just hold up, and you just turn. If you do a first frame angle, it will just shoot through the ground, like that. And so it's honestly the easiest way to do a floor shot without doing any setup or anything, or without doing the flutter or crouch. angle. So, yeah. Alright, one last thing using the powered holster that I wanted to mention is if you have tape, so usually when you tape one gun and then you tape it to another gun. Because this gun is really not usable in the state, you can't press fire, so pressing fire is not doing anything. But actually, if you put it on a powered holster, you actually can fire it. And so this works especially well if you slide, because then it just goes straight through the ground. And yeah, it works with any gun as long as you just tape it. And just the key thing is just not to tape it twice. So like if I tape this to this and then do it, it's not going to work. And it even works with the Magnum and shorter guns that normally can't go through like a floor. It will actually work with these. And it even actually works on walls, because it basically just extends the barrel, which is very useful. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about a few examples of where you can use floor shooting especially well, and some examples of ceiling shooting. So for the first example of floor shooting is usually just on these random generation maps where you have the shotgun spawners here. And so it's especially useful if someone's trying to like rush you down and go through this door, which often happens. What you can do is you can just toss the gun up here and then just angle save it like that. Well, which angle saves it? And yeah, you can just get a timing, because usually not many people know about this or expect it. So it's pretty easy to get a kill that way. Okay, so another example of floor shooting is here on this map, which is Office 01. And so it's actually very useful, because especially if someone gets like a bad spawn and instead they want to just go down and get the chainsaw, because usually when people go to the chainsaw, they go on this bouncy spring. So what you can do is just angle save the gun here using the crouch method. And even though it doesn't look like it didn't flip, it actually did angle save. And then what you want to do is just flutter a crouch shoot. Or just do the same thing, which is hold shoot and press grab. And it's kind of difficult, but you have a bunch of net guns up here, so usually I try to get like one or two, but one works. So now they can't really use this spring, and they have to go up the slow way, which allows you to just use the net gun and just like angle them from above. Okay, so the last related tech I'm going to talk about today is ceiling shooting. And so how this works is, let's say with the sniper, if you slide up against a wall, you can see that the barrel just goes through the floor. And so actually what I'm doing is I'm just sliding and then jumping. And so the barrel only goes up because I'm against the wall. So that's the really only reason it goes through the floor. Because if I just do it here, it's not going to do anything. But actually there is some, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but there is some points between blocks where the barrel does raise slightly, and you can see that with the little red dot. And so I know with the net gun, it is possible to shoot through just a flat ceiling like that, which is especially useful on certain maps, but it's kind of inconsistent. So some guns like the shotgun, which has a slightly shorter barrel, have more tight timings, and I think it's not even possible to do it on the nature blocks because they're thicker, but it is possible to do it on the space blocks. But it is a little, it's kind of difficult, but not really. And the way net gun projectiles work, it's the easiest because it has, I think, the easiest timing. And it's kind of difficult to fail, but the only problem is if you do fail, it's easy to net yourself. Or like if you just like crouch jump by here by accident, it's easy to net yourself. And this also is the same for the camping gun. And yeah. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think that the reason that they can shoot upwards, and you can see the net gun going upwards a little bit along the orange cracks, is because there's a slight gap between the blocks. It's not like big enough for any bullet to shoot through, but it makes like the code think that the net gun can go up during that point, or it's like going against a wall, because like when you go against a wall the gun points up, but when you're sliding up it maybe thinks it's going against a wall, so it points up. Now keep in mind that this is just kind of a guess, and I'm guessing here, so I would take this with a grain of salt. And so the last tech with ceiling shooting that you could do is you need a powered holster. And so this works with the net gun or the sharp shot, or I'm assuming also the camping gun. But stuff with a really long barrel, or stuff like the net gun or camping gun. And it doesn't work on thicker block groups like the nature blocks, so it only works on pyramid and city and a few other thin ones. So if you have a sharp shot and you just come below the block, so you need to be in a 2 high corridor, and you just jump, and I think because I have jump and up bound to the same key, it's easier for me, but I'm assuming you just press jump and press up at the same time, and then you just fire, and it will actually just shoot through the ceiling. And it's easier to see with the net gun, but and yeah, so it's essentially the same timing, but it's not very difficult to do. You just jump and press fire, and yeah. And with the sharp shot, especially, you can see that there's actually 2 different angles you can shoot at, and so I think it just depends where you are along the wall. But there are different frame timings. So that was a angled, and then this is a upright. But honestly, you just have to mess around and figure it out. I just wanted to quickly say that all the tech with the powered holster can be done without the powered holster, as long as it doesn't require you to put something on your back and shoot it. So like, if I just put this on, it's still going to be the exact same thing, and I can still shoot the wall and jump shot. I just wanted to mention that you actually can do the upshot through the wall or through the ceiling without the powered holster. The timing is just more precise, but yeah, you can do it with the net gun, camping gun, or the sharp shot, and it's easy because you can just do it on like almost any pyramid map. So what you want to do is you just want to, generally you want like a bigger space than two blocks tall, because at that point it's kind of hard to point it up. It's kind of hard to do an up angle before your head hits the ceiling. But this basic principle is just doing an up angle right as your head would hit the ceiling. And it is a bit more risky because it's easy to net yourself, but for example with the sharp shot, you can see that it actually still goes through. You just have to it's kind of precise timing. And this is also good, especially when there's no wall next to you, so you can't just do an easy ceiling shot, but you actually just can do it on any ceiling, provided it is thin enough, like the pyramid or city walls, so it just won't work on these. Okay, so I'm just going to give a few examples of like where you can use ceiling shooting. So this is on a random map, and it's essentially any random map that has one of these little cubbies with the net guns in it, or a camping gun. Camping gun works just the same, and they're very common. I'd say they're in like 50% of the maps that you'll see. And so what you want to do is the same principle. You just go up against the wall, you slide, jump against the wall, like that, and then you just fire. And the timing's pretty generous, but just be careful because like you can still like net yourself if you just mess it up, which leaves you very vulnerable. So overall, it's pretty easy. Okay, so the next example is, I mean, I'd say it's more difficult to use because you're not up against like a wall. But essentially, if you're under this lava pit, if you notice that there's points where the net gun points up, and so if you fire during a specific time, it's kind of inconsistent. You can sort of get up if you saw the net gun fires through the lava. But it's kind of difficult to do, and on this map especially, it only really gets to like right here, or sometimes you can get it like that if you want it closer. If someone's like about to jump over lava maybe, then you can sort of net them here, but it's kind of hard to do. Okay, so this is the 8-player version of the map, and I'd say it's a little more useful here because the lava pool is kind of shallower, and so what you can do is if you shoot especially right here, the net gun will arc in such a way that you can net the gray duck right here. like that. But it's kind of inconsistent, so it's hard to get in games, especially if it's very fast. But the main thing you just want to look for is where does the net gun point up, and you have to shoot during that moment that it points up. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. And so I'm kind of just aiming for like around this spot here, like that. So I'd say like aim for this specific little indent in the ceiling. And so the last place that I want to talk about for ceiling shooting is on this bunker level. So it's kind of less useful in my opinion because you're really never going to get a shot like this. So it's mainly for like montage shots, but if you see going against this specifically right here, and it's not that difficult to get the shot, but I would say it's not very useful. And also you can see there's two angles there. Like that. That was the 45-degree one. And that was the upright one. There's probably a lot more places that I haven't talked about yet that you can ceiling shoot, but like, I mean, overall, just trying to experiment and find places where you can. But I would say ceiling shooting is not especially useful in games. I'd say floor shooting and wall shooting is way more useful. And so yeah, it's just something to think about. So that's going to be all the tech I'm going to talk about in this video. But if you have any questions, please just leave a comment down below, and I will try to answer that, or any suggestions or anything. My plan is to record 2 videos a week and try to post them, but that will increase or decrease depending on how much time I have. So most likely my plan is to release 1 to 2 videos at the end of next week, and they're probably going to be focused on clips and all the different types of clips you can do in Nut Game. And there might be more or less depending on how much I can squeeze into one video. And then I'm probably going to start doing all the different item tech. Keep on duck gaming. Peace.